Hello YouTube, and happy holidays. I'm Music Kev, and this is Musing About Music, a show focusing on music past, present, and future. What in the dickens? No, get out of here. We focus on music facts, not fiction. Those of you who celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah are likely just coming out of your holiday spirits. But before we ring in the new year, let us take a look at a few of the musical traditions surrounding these two commonly celebrated holidays. For those of you who celebrate Kwanzaa, I wish you a happy one, but my research has not revealed much in the way of traditional Kwanzaa carols. I did come across many educational songs on the topic, which I'll link to in the description. I encourage anyone who celebrates the holiday to tell us a little bit about their traditions in the comments, and I look forward to learning along with our other viewers. Before we delve into the meat of the clip, it's time for Lonely Fact, the part of the show where I take a fact from my research that I couldn't quite fit anywhere else in my script, and I ask you, the viewer, a trivia question. Today's question: from where does the word carol originate? I'll give you all the answer at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Let us take a look at Hanukkah first. Hanukkah, or the Festival of Lights, is a Jewish holiday celebrating a miracle where enough holy oil for just one night ended up lasting for 8. There's a lot more to this holiday than just the miracle I've described, but in the interest of staying on topic and still providing relevant information, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link. Go ahead and click it if you're interested. I'll still be here. On to the musical traditions of Hanukkah. I'll be honest, when I started this research, I only knew of the song I Have a Little Dreidel, or My Dreidel, or The Dreidel. I've seen it different ways during my research, and as it turns out, this isn't exactly what one might call a traditional carol. It was actually published within the past century by Samuel Goldfarb. Goldfarb is known as the father of Jewish music in America. Most of the English-speaking world knows of this song.
I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play.
Yes, that would be the one, thank you. Actually, while we are on this, Mikhail Gelbhardt published the song in Yiddish with two slight differences. For one, the Gelbhardt version says, I am a little dreidel, the singer being the dreidel. The other change is that the dreidel is made out of blei, not clay, blei being the Yiddish for lead, which is historically accurate. If you want to play the dreidel game, I'll leave a link over here for you to learn the rules. But I digress. Another well-known carol is O Hanukah, or the Latka song in Yiddish.
Hanukah, Hanukah, Jontef a scheiner, a lustiger, a freilicher, nit da noch a seiner, alle Nacht in Dreidel spielen mir, so die Käse Latkes essen mir.
That would be the one. This carol is more traditionally Yiddish than English, with the latter being more of an adaptation than a translation, and it references the dreidel, latkes or potato pancakes, and the Miracle of Lights. These two songs are likely more popular because they are in more commonly spoken languages of English and Yiddish, but Hebrew is the main language of Jewish culture, and let me just say that it is a beautiful language for singing. Like Latin, the language is very lyrical and melodious. Also like Latin, the language was considered dead for some time, or unspoken outside of liturgy, but recently the language has returned and is spoken today by 9 million people worldwide. Many believe that it is important to teach this language, but it still remains a struggle. Once again, I digress, but I wanted to bring up one primarily Hebrew song, Sevivon. I am so sorry about my pronunciation. Once again, this song references the dreidel and the miracle, but what I find interesting is that the lyrics change depending on if you are singing it in Israel or abroad, saying that a great miracle happened here or there, respectively. I just found this rather neat, as many other songs default to a neutral description of the place. I have only touched on some of the music sung for the celebration of Hanukkah, but I encourage you to seek out more information if you are interested. I have spoken about the what carols are sung for Hanukkah, but now I'll talk about where. It's actually rather predictable. Although some liturgical poems are sung in the synagogue, it is actually more common that the music be sung in the home around the menorah. On to Christmas. Christmas is the celebration of the birth of the Christian Messiah, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, even though he was technically born in Bethlehem. But I digress again. Interesting thing about Christmas is that the date was chosen around 336 AD, as there is much speculation about when Jesus' actual birthday is. It was either chosen based on 9 months after the Annunciation, March 25th, or it was chosen to coincide with the Roman festival of the winter solstice. As such, several of the traditions are adopted and modified from the celebration of winter solstice. Once again, I'll leave a couple of links if you want to draw some of the parallels on your own. On a side note, I will add that the commercial or secular side of Christmas, Santa, has his own origins, and I'll leave a link there too. The traditions that I'm looking at are again the musical ones. This is Musing About Music. I mean, what did you expect? Let's talk about the two groups of songs individually, secular and sacred. We will start with the secular, specifically We Wish You a Merry Christmas, which my research dates as the oldest of the secular songs. Although other sources credit that as Up on the Housetop in 1853, the former can be approximated to around the 16th century. We Wish You a Merry Christmas references the tradition of caroling for the wealthy members of the town for Christmas treats. Although some of the song may sound like extortion,
we won't go till we get some, won't go till we get some, we won't go till we get some, so bring some out here.
Ultimately, it is in good fun. While we are talking about the caroling tradition, I'll mention here that Christmas carols started as dancing with singing for winter solstice festivals. But the actual idea of traveling to a neighbor's door for well-wishing, wassail or vas heil, is a Norse tradition, where the well-wisher would hope to receive presents in return for the wishes of good fortune. Fair trade, right? That's why my sister just got a vas heil this year. Anyway, the two traditions merged in Victorian England when in 1833 a compilation of today's popular carols was put together. Unfortunately, caroling has been far less common since around 1960 because there has been less of a similarity of culture. On to the next song. No, I'm not doing that song. It was originally a Thanksgiving tune anyway.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me.
Ah, there we go. Could we, skip ahead? While we're fast forwarding, I'll mention that this song makes an ideal transition between the secular and sacred, since the literal meaning is secular, but the symbolic meaning sacred.
My true love sent to me,
Referring to God,
12 drummers drumming,
referring to the 12 points of the Apostles' Creed,
11 pipers piping,
the 11 faithful apostles, discounting Judas,
10 lords a leaping,
10 commandments, and, so on. I'm not really going further because I think it's a little bit of a stretch. Lords of Leaping don't really match up to the 10 Commandments. The only thing that they have in common is the amount. And really, Go Where I Send Thee is a bit more literal about it. Since I seem to be running out of time, for the sacred side, I'll use the most iconic of the sacred Christmas songs, the one that I've heard sung most in media and in real life, Silent Night. This iconic song started as most do, a poem. It was written by an Austrian priest. 2 years later, on Christmas Eve in St. Nicholas Church, the organ had broken, so the priest, Joseph Moore, gave the poem to his friend, Franz Gruber, who then composed the music for guitar in a simple midnight mass. Well, I hope that this short discussion of the caroling traditions of the holidays and the songs associated with them has taught you a little something. Speaking of learning something, the term carol comes from a French word meaning dancing around in a circle. And with that, our lonely fact has been answered. What about you? Do you have any carols that are your favorites? Any traditions of carols that I forgot to mention? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you want to see some more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Afterwards, tell me what musical concepts and, things that you want to hear about next. I have a few ideas, but I'd like to hear what you'd like to see. Anyway, I'll see you next time on Musing About Music.
And days of old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear. Ooh, for old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear. For old lang syne.